Man, I look like butter. I sound like butter. Man, they should just change today International Butter Day.
I tell you, my man is looking. No margarine.
No
all
margarine.
Butter.
All butter. I love that hashtag.
He's sliding on the seats.
Yo, man, this man Rich is hilarious, bro. But you guys are tuning in to Talk Ain't Cheap, the official podcast. Y'all know I'm here. I'm here with my brother. He's I'm gonna give him a really dope introduction because I haven't seen this man in a very long time, and he's a very amazing person.
Stop it, man. Come on.
So let's take a trip back to, let's say, 2006. When 2019, so that's 13 years ago. 2006, we were both in 6th grade at IS 51. African.
Yes.
A very rough time to be African, might I say.
Very rough time. There were still jollof wars though, but it's okay.
There was jollof wars with those who was like the Saturday school programs or whatever, like the step program or whatever. But for the most part at school, you being African was like, it was almost the worst thing you can be close to.
Go to school, do your homework. Go home, do your homework. Do everything you have to do.
I always tell people it's more like this. It's like, you weren't black enough to be with the black people. Like, you wasn't street enough. You wasn't cool enough. You wasn't that.
Nope.
You were smart, but you wasn't Asian, so you wasn't in that conversation. Nope. You're cool. You have, you speak a certain type of way, but you're not white, and white people don't appreciate you. And then, Spanish people, our parents, like, not I want to say our parents, but like a lot of African parents at the time were like, stay away from Spanish people. I'm being just completely frank because I've seen it. I've heard it from other parents and people around, like, oh, them Spanish girls, this, that, third. So we never really found acceptance in any other cultural group
except within ourselves.
And it wasn't a lot of us. And the ones who were around, they were not claiming being African.
Nope. They were just trying to be black. They were trying to go to parties, Jamaican, be Caribbean. They go, oh my gosh, I'm not black, I'm Caribbean. Hey, let me wind my waist, all this other stuff. Yeah. I'm like, you're gonna go home and make jollof rice. Your mother's gonna force you to clean the tub. Your mother is going to make sure that you talk to your aunt.
You still got church on Sunday.
You have church on Sunday. I tell you, it's crazy.
It was foul. And I say this because, you know what? I'm like, you knew me for years. I've been the same. Like, I have the same mannerism, same demeanor forever. The same pride in Africa, I've always had it. So now I always tell people, when everyone's trying to do it, I feel like it's still a trend. It's a trend to them.
It's a trend. And the thing is, everybody picks it up. Everybody puts it on. Everybody puts it down. And just, they focus on that one thing. It could be the music, that one song that they like, oh, this is Davido, da-da-da-da-da. I love African music. Yeah, I love you.
Yo, bro, I don't even consider, like, I'm sitting here like, bro, like, do y'all not remember, like, Style Plus Crew or Bracket or Two Face? Like, the old, not
R2Bs.
R2, yes.
Son, they don't know. And the thing is, it's funny because I've been jacking this, I'll be listening to this song for 6-7 months. Let's say, the perfect example, Ayo, Your Number.
Yeah.
When the film first came out, I was like, yo, this is a cool song. Everybody's catching on to it. Everybody's claiming. There was some girl in my school. My proper was like, oh, I love this Caribbean song. I'm like, you foolish goat. You don't even know how long ago this song came and you're calling it Caribbean because the guy sounds Caribbean because...
Now you're right.
What kind of life is that?
Now you're completely right. And it's crazy. A lot of people didn't know that he was Nigerian. And I think that was to his advantage.
Right.
Because I don't know if at that time, if people knew he was African, if it would have boomed the way it would have. And it's just foul when I look at everything now. Like I said, like, I feel like I'm all about the One Africa movement. I'm all about that, but I've always been about it before it became a thing.
Before it was even relevant, like before it even became a trend. Like, this was just our lifestyle, like the kente, the Ankara, all this stuff that we just did. Like,
remember, we had to get dressed up for picture day. Nobody else would get dressed up. They wear some fly Jordan stuff. We had to have 3-piece suit, full suit, dress clothes that we're going to church for every picture day.
Exactly.
And then after picture day, after that one picture's done, you can't even change.
Nope.
'Cause you had to wear that all day. So now you look like a reverend or a preacher, and everybody else is playing, having a good time. You still got to wear
everybody wearing their Jordans and everything to go take photos. It's not even showing up in the photo.
Facts.
And it's like, for us, suit, tie, everything, like dress, all of that. And not to say that other cultures didn't do that too or whatever, but it was just like with us, it's just that standard. We always have to be that kid that makes sure that they do whatever they're supposed to do.
It's
and
true.
if we don't, we're gonna come home and get beatings of our lives. Then we're gonna have to explain to the people the next day, oh, you got beat up. Why are you getting beat up? Why is your parents beating you? Because it's life.
And you know what's crazy? I always tell people all the time, like, us growing up was a very interesting time because our parents did not really understand. Like, I feel like parents now are a lot more understanding because they see it. They're growing in it too. Our parents did not understand a thing. Like, they didn't understand why you needed a cell phone in junior high school.
What? I got a cell phone. You got your cell phone in junior high school?
I got my mom had to sneak and buy me a cell phone in 7th grade.
In 7th grade. Cletus, I was in the 9th grade before I got my first T-Mobile prepaid phone.
Wow.
T-Mobile prepaid. My cousin got from me. Then my aunt was like, you know what? You need a phone. Let's get you an AT&T Nokia flip phone. In the 9th grade. That's 2009. That was the first time I had my phone. Then, what was it? It was 2010 when I got the iPhone 3GS and I felt like I was on top of the world and everybody else had the iPhone. I was like, hey, I team iPhone. Oh, I'm so cool. Now I can download music and use iTunes and all this other jazz and stuff and download and torrent and mess up my computer with all this LimeWire and software and this.
And you know what's crazy? And I don't think people give like being Nigerian at that time credit. Like all the Nigerians that came after, I respect them, whatever, but they don't understand like we really laid a foundation from like, bro, if it wasn't for MySpace, we wouldn't have no social anything. Nope. Like we made it acceptable to even have a MySpace because our parents wasn't even fond of us being on social media.
They hated. There's like, oh, why are you going on online talking to all these people? You know, there's people out there that can use fake accounts and everything. Yep. And then Facebook, us lying to be 21 or whatever, just to go on just to be on Facebook, just to say, oh, I'm cool, I'm popping this, that, and the third. Now you over here having our parents trying to help them take photos for their Facebook page. Yep. And it's like, yo, we really came a long way.
Like, bro, I don't think you understand. Like, whenever I hear African music on the radio, it makes me uncomfortable. And it's not uncomfortable in a sense that's like, oh, I don't love it. It's like, it baffles me. It baffles me because it's like, yo, I remember when you had to beg people to play just a basic Afrobeat music.
Son, I remember prom of 2012. Curtis prom of 2012.
Shout out to Curtis High School, man.
Yo, son.
Vibes.
Oh, my gosh. Yo.
Straight vibes.
Hoboken. We're on the river.
Yep.
Son, first year ever I'm ever putting on kente tie, kente vest. Came in the night before, straight from Ghana. I'm over here repping it. Everyone's like, oh, Richard, yo, you look so dope. Where's your date? I came by myself. Richard, you should have told me. I would have went with you.
And before, I don't mean to cut you off, but even, you talking about prom. Parents wasn't even really allowing you to even date. You wasn't going to no mall. You wasn't going to the mall unless you really was like kind of sneaking to go. You wasn't even in those spaces to even develop a dating kind of relationship, anything. If you did it really behind the your parents' back. Right. So they talk about, oh, you didn't have a date. I remember my dad was like, oh, you don't have a girlfriend. And I'm saying like, when would you ever have allowed me to have one?
Exactly. If I brought a girl home, in what world would you just be like, you know what? It's okay. They're living their best life. It's all right. You know, I want my son to be happy and everything and stuff like that. You would have been like, I hope this is your friend that's going to help you do your homework.
Bro, that's a fact.
Because other than that, there's no reason the opposite sex should be in the house at all, unless it's your sister or your relative. Like, it wasn't making sense. And it's like different for us because as Africans, it's just our parents have those morals and values. They'll always tell you, oh, when I was back at home, I was an A student. I did this. I did that. My mom and my dad were in the same class, and they said they were both A students. So who's a liar?
So, yo, they're always the first in their class. And my dad was like, I was the first in my class. Your uncle that you know was second. And I'm sitting here like, but if you was second, but he swear he first. So and I'm sitting here like, even when I went to college and I failed out of college the first time, I was so embarrassed because I'm like, yo, I failed. Like, bro, I remember there was a time in high school, bro, I cried because I got an 89 on my report card.
Son, I would love to relive high school exams, all this. Like, son, you didn't have to study for it. You went, you did your homework. Your homework was studying.
True.
It was just like you go when you take the exam, boom, done.
True.
College is something different. Like, you go there, you actually have to put in the work, otherwise you're not gonna make it.
It's true.
I had B's my whole year. I had a right under a 3.0, 2.98 my first semester. My dad was like, "Why are we sending you to school?" And that was the last time I ever told my parents about my grades or my transcript. I just had to realize, because it's like, if you're not getting 100 or an A, you're failing. And it's like, yo, this is the standard that we really lived by up until now. And it's like, it's so unrealistic.
It is. And you know what really was messed up? Like, bro, I felt like African parents set you up for failure on purpose so that you had to either sink or swim. Like, every African I ever met at the time, like, even when I was younger, they either, and I look now, they either doing really well or they're doing really bad. There really is no in between.
Right.
Because it was like, bro, like, I remember there was a time, like, yo, like you said, we both bought our first pair of Jordans by ourselves. To go to a African parent and be like, yo, I want a pair of Jordans because if I don't get these sneakers, I'm gonna get made fun of at school because I look like I'm broke or I'm a bum. And to them, they're like, how could you look like you're broke when you see the car that we're driving? You see that we have house, you have both your parents, you're eating, and I'm saying here, like, bro, you're not gonna understand, because at the end of the day, you're not the one that has to deal with the realities
when you go, exactly, when we leave the house. Because guess what, my friends are not in my house seeing what I have. They're seeing what I bring to the table at school. Especially that lunch table. What?
Bro, I remember, 51 was such a cold place. I remember girls used to be like, oh, like, Cletus, you I used to sweat a lot, cause I played basketball and I used to drink like mad water, so I sweated a lot. Oh, Cletus used to sweat piss. That's what they used to tell me every day, bro. And I say, bro, like, it really took me having to be the funny basketball playing smart African that was cool and loved God. That's really what saved me. Cause I used to tell everybody I'm gonna pray for them. Cause that's all I could do. I was in church on Sunday, Wednesday for midweek service, and then maybe on Monday when they had something. And I used to go to church twice on Sundays. So all I had at that time was God, bro. Cause I ain't have no Jordans. Listen, I used to wear all the clothes from JCPenney. All the JC.
Listen, Payless shoes, your Dunkmans.
Yo, the Shaqs, the Air Ones, New Balances. Oh man. And I look at it now like, yo, young Africans really thriving right now. To be African now is like lit. It's lit.
People look up to, they're like, yo, you know this move? The Zonta, you know the
Al Qaeda,
Zanku,
you know the Shaku,
like all this stuff.
Oh my God,
I'm just
bro.
Like, listen, I get it. It's cool and it feels good, but at the same time, it's like people just put you in this bubble now because it's like they don't know what it was back then for us. Like, we really had to struggle being the booty scratcher, being the dark African with big lips that nobody wants to talk to. Now these are the same girls that want to have these same lips all over them.
Now, you know, it's crazy. And I look at it now, like, a lot of the girls I used to really like, and I used to tell them, like, yo, like, I was really about them. But they would never see past that I was an African, you know, nerdy, whatever. And like, bro, now they look at me like, oh, you look mad good. But I'm like, bro, I look the same. I look the same.
The difference is we have hair.
I got a beard now, and my demeanor is a little different.
Yeah.
Now, before I was afraid to even approach you. Now I'll glaze the hell out your buns. You my girl. Like, you not even
butter.
You know the vibes. You know the vibe. But it's
Come,
just,
let me make you slippy.
You know. He said, "Come, let me make you slippery." Yo, I'm weak. # put it on the shirt. But it's like, now I look at everything and it's like, yo, the process of what it meant to be African then and now what it looks like now, it's kind of like a blessing, but at the same time it's humbling, because it's like, bro, like, I'm not one of the people that you ever gonna see be doing the most like, oh, I'm Team Africa, bro. I'm Africa regardless. I'm the self-embodiment of what it means to be a young Nigerian doing it, point blank, period. And I've been this way. It hasn't been like one of them things like, oh, I just started doing because it's lit. Bro, Cletus has never been a Jamaican. Cletus has never been a Caribbean.
Nope.
Cletus waistline more elite than a lot of them dudes, but yo, Cletus has always been Nigerian. You knew Cletus. I was a lot of people's first African friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's true. Every time I mention Cletus, oh shoot, Nigeria.
The African?
It's just the African. That African.
The African.
The African.
The African.
It's just crazy because it's a fact. I see it all the time. Everywhere I go, I mention his name, somebody knows him. And knows him because he's that African. That literally just puts it out there. He just puts it
African.
out there. Son, I'm sitting right here next to his African continent loafers. I have them in my hand right now. It's like, boy. And the thing is, it's not even like he just does it just to show off or whatever. It's just being him. Me, I'm Ghanaian.
Shout out to my Ghanaians. I respect you people, even though your jollof rice was trash.
I don't do that. Don't do that. Because guess what? Nigerians are the first ones to start, and we're the ones to stay humble.
That is facts. That is facts. I agree. Ghanaian people are the most humble people. That is a fact.
I'm telling you. But regardless of that, like, I've known my culture, and there's even times where it's like I went to school and I found out more about it there than I did ever being at home. Because it was just, I was surrounded by other Ghanaians that were coming from New York City. I went to school in Brockport.
Shout out to Brockport.
Up there, you got cold. You have majority white people. It's upstate New York. So those are the two things that you're going to see. So for me to go there and then meet 20, like maybe I'm dragging it, maybe like 10, 15 Ghanaians or whatever coming from New York City, I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. And we all just going through the same thing. Together, and this is at the time, this is 2012, which it is like where like the Afro vibes movement just started peaking and peaking and peaking year by year by year. People were coming out to events. People wanted to wear Ankara. People are getting their stuff sewn together. Yo, Richard, where you getting this? Yo, where you get your materials from? People repping African jewelry and all this other stuff. Like, and the thing is, they don't even know where this meaning come from and everything. They just doing it just to do it. Please, how many women you seen wearing waist beads?
Everybody.
And them showing it off.
Every girl.
And they don't even know that they not even
supposed to show them all, bro. Jesus is not right.
And I be the one that have to tell them. I was like, oh, they're not supposed to be show. I'm like, no. Like, my mom doesn't show off her waist beads. My sisters don't show off their waist beads. Like, it's something that, like, the only person that's supposed to see them is themselves in the mirror or their man. And even then, like, if you're wearing a bathing suit, that's different. It is what it is. But even then, some of them try to tuck it in so that way it's not shown. But everybody's just getting it to be a trend because it's like, oh, it's so cute, da-da-da, I'm going to get it to show it off. I'm like, that's not the point. Like, when I be making it and selling it to a lot of women, first of all, shout out to the Gold Coast Collection.
Know what? We got really into the podcast, and you know what? I knew this was gonna happen because the chemistry goes back 13 years. That's a blessing from God. A lot of people don't have friends that long.
Amen.
So I want to introduce somebody, like I said, very special. This is my bro, Richard Ashun, CEO of the Gold Coast Collection. I don't even know where to start. I knew Richard for, like I said, 13 years. He's a nurse. I don't want to put all your business, but he's a registered nurse, doing very well. Probably the most disciplined person I've known for a very long time. Has not changed at all. Richard has always been rich. If you know Rich, you know he's always been rich. And also on top of that, he's the one that founded the African Students Union.
Well, I wasn't really founded it, but I helped, really put them on the map as far as like support. I was the first ever black male president of the African Student Union at the College of Brockport, and honestly, it wasn't for me just to be president or whatever. It was just me helping out, like me putting them on the map, because at the end of the day, I felt like me being a family there, and I just want to make sure that when I left my mark that they can just build upon, it's just something like that simple.
And I never give you enough credit, but if it wasn't for you, I would never have been able to get the opportunity to host that Brockport. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Brockport was one of the first schools. Like, I had an opportunity to host that Africa night in Albany, like in 2013, but they wanted me to do it for free, and I said no. And after that, it was like the opportunity gets closed, because after that, shout out to my bro Segun. Segun has been the guy at Albany since then. Mm-hmm. But if it wasn't for you, I never would have had the opportunity to host at Brockport and even expand to Brockport. And then after that, I was there for like, I think I was in college for 5 years. I was in college for 5 years. During that 5 years, I've hosted at Brockport at least 4 out of the 5 years I was there.
Mm-hmm. And only reason why is because I was just like, they were like, we need a host. Like, who are we gonna think that like the host? He needs to be that person that's just mad funny and stuff. I'm just like, Cletus, Like, he's just... Because why? Because he's that African. Simple. Because he's just like it just came to mind. It's like, yo, who's Cletus? Da-da-da. I'm like, let me show you his profile. Let me tell you what he's about. And then after that, just hit him up, and that's it. It's simple. You know, it's just one of those things where Cletus has been Cletus all his life, and for me to just bring it up for him to give him that opportunity, or whatever, it was just made sense because first of all, I know him. I know he's professional. I know his professionalism. I know his networking. I know everything that he can do, everything he put forth. And him just being himself, he doesn't have to act funny. This man's naturally funny. His life is about being funny. If he's not like funny, he's not being Cletus. So it's like just all of that combined into one person. Why to host the show? Why not? You know, it just made sense.
And I was cheap too. I was cheap. I'm still cheap. I was sitting the other day. I'm like, man, cause I'm shout out to Brockport CSO. I'm gonna be there this weekend in Rochester, so that's big. You know, and then shout out to Brockport OSAD. They wanted me to host in February, but things happen. I had to handle my own stuff in my own personal life. But just the fact that I still like have those opportunities, like, bro, that's a blessing, and that all because of you.
Listen, man, it's just stuff like just me knowing you. Period. That's it. It's just from us knowing each other.
It's true.
Literally. That's it. There's no difference. There's no like, oh man, like he could do this for me or whatever. He gonna do it for free or something. Like, no. I'm like, listen, you come, name your price, we'll do whatever. You have a place to stay. You have the money. Like, you need money for bus, cover it. Like, it's just, that's it. Because at the end of the day, you're the bro. That's it. Simple, And it's just that connection that we've just shared over the years that's been good. It's like there's times where you do your thing, I do my thing. We may not link up or do something, whatever, but at the same time when we do, it's always a good turnout. Like the fact that you didn't know I was even still here on the island, and then like just having to play ball tonight, and then now we're here. We didn't expect any of this stuff to happen, but it just happens because we all knew the struggle when we was growing up, and then us seeing each other now, and we were just talking about it. Everybody from 51.
Yeah.
Oh my! Like, the names can go on and on. If we keep mentioning every single person, we're gonna be here for years. So it's just a short list of people that we're just talking about that are just doing their thing right now, and for them to even be African brothers like us. Not to single everybody else out or whatever. To just shut them down because everybody's doing
just
their thing
being African, black, whatever. It's just like, yo, we came up in a rough era, and we came a long way.
It's crazy and to see all these kids now and everything around the block doing whatever, and they look up to us and they just think we just a random person. They don't know.
They don't.
And Cletus would be like, you know this man? You know who this is?
Yeah, because I had to, because I coach now, so that's really what. Since I've been home, people be like, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, most of my life right now is revolved around helping with my mom's store. Like I said, building black business and all that stuff, because right black economics.
By the way, right on the corner of Richmond Terrace and South Avenue.
Shout out to Peace International Market, 3240 Richmond Terrace, Staten Island, New York. Yeah, hours 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., 11 p.m. on Fridays, and on Sundays we close because we got church. That's still a thing. That's still a thing.
Gotta thank God for the market.
True, and that joint is not easy. It is not easy. And you know what's crazy? And I never really talk about stuff like this, but it's kind of like, when I talk to like not my African family all the time, but when I see certain African families, they don't understand that living in America is not that sweet. Like, they think that because we're not there struggling with them, that the struggle here has decreased.
Do you know how many times I wish I was born in Ghana to know how the struggle was there? I feel like I would even, like, as the person that I am, I'm grateful for it, but I feel like I would even be greater. I would have a really great sense of life if I grew up from there and then came here, because I would be very appreciative of everything that I own. Not to say I'm not now, and not to say that I don't, I'm not grateful for everything that my parents have done for me, especially with them coming from there here and building the foundation for us to, walk on top of. God first, obviously, but it's just like, for me to be born there, to go through the struggle, and to come here and have the opportunities and everything, it's great. But we were born here, so meaning that we've seen everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. So for us, we know the struggle, but for them, it's the luxuries. They see everything, and that's the problem. It's perception. The perception is what really gets people, especially Africans, all the time. Oh, you're in America. You know, you have all these fancy cars and everything, and you have your education you can get, and da-da-da-da. And it's not free. People think that we get everything, whatever. It's not free.
That's true.
People are over here homeless too.
Bro.
The same way people are homeless back in Ghana, back in Nigeria, back wherever you are, the villages that are poor and everything. It happens here, right in our own backyards.
It's true. And if you really want to take a step further, like, just think about what college was like. Bro, if it wasn't cause I had the ability to throw parties, I had, like, you know, the abilities to do certain things, I was hustling, bro. I was hustling, bro. I look back at life now and I'm like, yo, I couldn't be a hoe even if I wanted to. Because I just did not have the luxury. I didn't have the time. I never made it. I'm like, bro, I look at it like this, bro. My freshman year and sophomore year, my grades was body shot. So I kind of had to come back with like okay, I gotta come back and body everything. I gotta come back and I can't get back to this point. So at that point, now I'm about to be a sophomore, junior. I'm not enjoying college like everyone think I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm really, really grinding. I'm really in school. I'm working 2-3 jobs. That summer that I lost my scholarship and I took like 12 credits that summer. I lost my scholarship. I was working 3 jobs. 3 jobs. I was sleeping a total of maybe 20 hours a week, if that. I'd wake up to go. So my first job would start at 7, so I was up by 6. So I go to my first job from 7 to about 3 or 4. And I always used to work with special needs kids at the JCC. Crazy, I saw one of them kids today. I almost started crying. I'm like, yo, you remember me? He's like, hey. I'm like, oh. You know me, I'm weird like that. So then after that, I would then go to my next job. So I would get off at 4. I drive to my next job. It starts at 5, and I used to do Domino's delivery. That was my next stop.
I didn't even know that.
Yes, I was doing Domino's delivery while I was still taking 12 credits during that summer. I was taking 6 credits online, then I was doing all that working, and then after that, I had to leave and go back to Buffalo and finish up and retake like chemistry and stuff because my grades was shot, like completely shot. So I was doing those 2, and then I still had another job that I was working on the weekends.
That's a lot. What the yo? That's a lot,
bro. So, and it's crazy to me because people will hit me up from time to time like, yo, bro, I need some bread, I need some stuff. And like certain friends, you know, if I got it, I got it. It's not even a question. But I think some people don't understand. Like my mom always says it best. She's like, Cletus, sometimes I wonder if you really got friends. Because if you really have friends, they would understand really where you came from. And she says it all the time because she's like, people think you've had it easy because you smile through everything. I've never had it sweet. And that just to a testament of what we've been through. We've never had it sweet. Like, Rich, I look at it now, bro. We was talking about we used to wear the same clothes the whole week and the same fits throughout the week.
Monday, I'm wearing my black and white striped shirt with my gray jeans and my Air Force, not even Air Force Ones, my Shaq Dunkman.
Your Shaqs.
My Shaqs.
I remember the Shaq. Bro, the black Shaqs saved the all black Shaqs and the red and white Shaqs saved my life. If it wasn't for the red and white Shaqs, bro, I had, man. And then ball kicks because I was playing basketball a lot, so they respected it. See, that's the thing.
You was playing ball too. Me, the only luxury sneaker I had was the high top Air Force Ones, 2007. That's it, luxury.
And you know what's crazy? At that time, they were like $60, and that was expensive for our parents. I remember my mom, since that day, had not bought me enough. Like, so when I was in like in 3rd, 4th grade, I had a pair of all white low tops, and I was bored one day in the house. I saw a black marker, I saw a green marker, so I just started coloring into my low tops. And I loved them, but my mom was so disgusted because she was like, yo, like there was $60 sneakers at that time. For us, that was a lot of money. And she was like, you destroyed your sneakers, you're not wearing them. From that day, she never bought me a pair of white sneakers. She's never bought me a pair of white sneakers. And it's crazy. I look at everything now. Like people, like you see me, like I be getting dressed up now and stuff like that. And even now, it's like I look at my stuff. I'm like, yo, I really give God glory. Because there was a time that, yo, we ain't have no clothes. If we went to the mall, you know what store we hitting. JCPenney's. I couldn't get none of the nice fits that, you know, training camp. We went to training camp. You go to get 2 sneakers, and that sneakers have to last you for the whole school year. The whole school year. So I was rotating 2 or 3 dunks, and that was it. And the dunks had to be on sale. Like, I look at everything. I'm like, you said it yourself. You bought your first pair of Jordans when?
Just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. First pair of Jordans. Air Jordan 1s.
I bought my first pair of Jordans my sophomore year in high school, and I had to pay for it with my own bread, and I bought them on eBay for like half the price. And I'm not saying this to like, oh, my life was rough. It's just to a testament of what this real One Africa thing really about. Like, I look at everybody and they be like, oh, One Africa, I'm this, that, the third, cool, whatever. And I said it to you. I'm like, bro, the people who've hurt me the most in my life have not been black people, have not been Spanish people, have not been white people. It's been Nigerians. It's been my own people. Mm-hmm. But they don't like. But it's like, at the end of the day, I charge it to the game, because at the end of the day, that doesn't change the morals and the things that were instilled in me.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, God, let their parents find out what they did to you. Their parents were the same ones that will bring their ear to your place, telling them to apologize to you. And it's just one of those things where it's like, nowadays, the generations of kids that are growing up, they don't know the struggle, so they don't have like the morals
same appreciation.
They don't have the same appreciation for everything. So it's like, now they just get into whatever, and it's like, you see it and it's just like, yo, like, everybody's on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Everybody has phones. Like there's sixth graders, fifth graders that have iPhone XS Max. What are you doing with that?
Who are you talking to?
Who are you talking to with iPhone XS Max?
Yeah.
You know, back then in 2007, my iPhone XS Max was my DS. I was playing Mario Kart with my friends. Yep. That was it. That was the most luxury that we had, and it's just crazy because now it's like they're just giving it like hotcakes to these kids.
The parents are a lot younger too, though.
That's true.
Parents are a lot younger, and I feel like also to add to that, bro, I remember the time when you couldn't get on. There was 2 things I remember. I remember the time when if your friends had to call you, let's say like a girl wanted to call you, your bro that your parents had to accept had to call you first, and then 3-way them onto the phone.
That's crazy.
And after a certain time, your parents, oh, Cletus, are you still on the phone? Get off the phone. I need to call my your brother, your aunt from Ghana. And you had to still be worrisome if they even listen to eavesdrop into your conversation.
Because all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, I like you too. Oh yeah, I love you too because that's my son. Get off the phone.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
It was crazy bad, bro.
I'm telling you,
it was that. And I remember when we first got when we had dial up on the computer.
Yo, AOL, Roadrunner, high speed online. Oh my God!
If you was on that, you was not taking no phone calls, and our parents used to always try to limit that, bro. It was foul.
You be in the middle of AIM talking to somebody, you're talking to your friend or whatever. Then all of a sudden it's like mid type. It's gone.
It's gone.
Because she took the phone cord out of the computer and put it back in the phone to use.
You had to disconnect to reconnect. It's foul.
People really don't understand, and it's not even people don't understand. It's just like the younger generation, and like, but at the same time, they're keeping us up to date with everything.
It's true.
Like you said, like they're keeping us up to date because whatever's going on in the world, they're gonna be the first ones to know because they have the technology and everything to do so. You got 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds that know how to get to YouTube and stuff like that, and it's just like, wow.
It's true.
And shoot, I don't even.
You know what? So that, let's talk about stuff. So I have a question for you.
All right.
Currently, I don't want to put your business out there. You in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And you happily in this relationship.
Shout out to Bae.
Shout out to Bae. God bless the Bae.
Sorry, not Bae. Wifey.
Shout out to wifey. So you want to marry this woman?
Yes.
Is she Nigerian?
No. She's American.
So, oh yeah, that's what I asked. Is she African? I'm sorry.
She's American.
She's American. So how do you think your parents are going to take it? And before you answer, because my parents kind of understand that, and I tell my mom all the time, I'm like, Ma, these queens ain't built like y'all. I'm like, I say it all the time, like, yo, these new generation queens really ain't built the way that you were. There's not a lot, and I tell my mom, I'm like, there's not a lot of good women out there. And the longer you stay in the game, the worse the players get. They're more cunning. They got the experience and skills, but it's like, yo, like they just don't have the common sense. They don't. I
tell you,
it's like the competition. I won't even say the competition gets better because the competition don't. Because I feel like as men elevate, there's more women to choose from. But as women elevate, there's less men to choose from. But then
I don't know about that. I feel like the higher you get on the pedestal, like the the lesser value of, you know, or not the lesser the value, but it's like the more you value, which eliminates a lot more for you to, you know, put in your field. And that's where it's like it comes on both spectrums. Like for women, the more they elevate, the more they look forward to in the person that they're going to meet. And same for men, because, you know, we want somebody on the same type of time, and it becomes like a struggle where it's like, I don't want this person to just be starting up. I want them to be on the same level so I don't have to worry about them. And everybody gets lazy. They don't want to have to grow with that person. But at the end of the day, that's what it is.
True.
You know? So, like, no, your question.
She's not African.
No, she's not Ghanaian. She's not Ghanaian. So how is my parents taking it?
Yes.
They've met. My mother is... No, I don't mean like that. You know,
you like nigga. They met, and
no. And the thing is, it's good because my mom isn't the type of person, like you said, like they're with the times now. They understand that I'm not gonna, most likely, if I do meet that Ghanaian girl, it's not gonna be bad. It's gonna be good for them because they already know that child has the morals and values instilled with them from our culture, so they don't have to do anything as far as like you know, explaining to them, okay, this is the time I need you home, and be like, okay, see you, bye, because I know you're gonna be home by 10 anyway because your parents are gonna do the same thing, you know. Yeah. So it's like they can come meet the parents and everything. They can be friends. It's just easier, you know. But for her being from America, it's hard because I'm not saying that her family doesn't give her the values, but it's just different values. Like her mother's young too, you know, so it's like for her mother's her best friend. My mother, as much as I can come to her and she's my mother, meaning that she's the person that always has my back over anybody else, she's not my friend.
She's not.
And because I view her as that authoritative figure that she instilled from jump from me, you know, where it's like, do what you're supposed to do what I say, and nothing happens, bad happens, and you'll be okay. You know, I'm doing this for your own good. Mm-hmm. And it's not until I get older and it's like, you know what, I realized she was right. But it kind of sucks though, because now that I'm older and I can think by myself, and I'm, you know, I went to school, I did everything, I have my job now and stuff. I'm still at home, meaning that I can do my stuff, but I can't forget that I'm home under the roof of my mom and my dad. So for her, you know, she's just 3 years younger than me, but at the same time, it's like, her mom is young, so they go on trips, whatever, and everything and stuff. But then, like, when stuff happens or when, you know, stuff hits the fan, it's like she can come to her mom, or she'll have an attitude or something, and, like, she'll talk to her mom, you know, or her stepdad or something, whatever which way, you know? So it's like, you know, it's tough because she has more freedom to express herself without retaliation.
True.
If you're African and you even think the opposite of your parents,
it's foul.
You're going to bed. You're going to wake up the next day like, what happened? Because it's just like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's so many times where I've gotten so mad at my mom, but I knew that whatever she was saying was right. And I just couldn't be mad. You know, like there's times where I know I did the wrong thing and she'll black more than any other person needs to. But because I know I was at my fault and I know the morals and values instilled inside of me and I know how my parents were brought up and I know that I wasn't supposed to do that or something, I can have an attitude, but they're never going to see it. Because the minute they even see my face change, they're going to be like, why you have an attitude? I didn't even say, oh, you're talking back now?
Yeah.
See? Like, it's just...
It was no... And I say that all the time, like, the generation that's going to come after us, they're going to be so blessed because they actually going to have a voice. They're actually going to have a voice that actually is going to impact things within their own household. Mm-hmm. Yo, we ain't had that.
No, we didn't. And if we tried even putting up us having a voice was us talking back. Us having a voice was us being disrespectful, you know? And if still like that till this day, it's a little easier now because we're older, meaning that we have the ability to express ourselves. But even then, it's like, be careful because you're still under whose house?
And you know what's crazy? Back in the day, movies used to play people who stayed in their mom's basement, their parents' house. Mm-hmm. This is the most brilliant. I don't know why people would want you to move out.
People, and the thing is, because sometimes they portray these movies or whatever and stuff in wrong locations. You're not gonna portray you being 18, coming back, you being 18, going to college, coming back at 21 to New York City, and then staying home for like 2 or 3 months, and then moving out and getting your own place by yourself. That's not happening.
You can't afford that
unless you're
your job is amazing.
Unless your job is amazing, white. But like, but it's just not like that, because I came home. And my idea isn't to move out immediately, because I know the minute I move out, I'm going to struggle on my own, and I'm going to end up coming back home anyway, which happens to a lot of people, especially minorities that come home and and I think the big thing is that they come home from having freedom, going away to school, experiencing themselves on their own. Mm-hmm. Then when they come back, it's like the freedom isn't the same. You know, they had their say when they were by themselves. They know how they lived. They found themselves when they left. So now when they come back home, it's like now they have to show themselves to their parents, and their parents aren't that reciprocating of it, because it's like, this is still my child. No matter how old you get, you're still under me. And it's not in a bad way, but it's just like, you know, no matter what happens, that's always the mindset your parents are going to have. So it's like sometimes they just can't deal with that. So then they just move out, and then they struggle with financial issues, especially in New York City, with rent going high every 2 seconds.
Yep.
You either have to live with somebody else or have 2 or 3 jobs just to sustain a living.
It's true.
Even with minimum wage going up, it's still not enough, you know? So it's just tough. So all those values and everything, trying to bring all that culture and tradition and everything, and have somebody that, you know, even though they're black and they know the struggle, they still don't know our struggle or what our parents struggle. So that's why they teach us these morals and these values. Make sure you're home before 10. Make sure you do your homework. Make sure you don't talk back. Make sure you always give back. Make sure you always, you know, be respectful to your elders, all this other stuff, you know? So it's like, for me, that's how I am. That's just the embodiment of myself. So like when I see her like getting into it with her parents or something, it's like, yo, like, you're talking to your mother.
You can do this?
You can do this?
Hey, you're
like,
not going to die?
Right. I'm like, listen, if there was a show called Family Swap or something like that, or like Life Swap, where you stayed with my parents and I stayed with your parents would sit there and make me the crown jewel of their life, because I would do everything and they won't have to say anything.
It's true.
The minute you get in my house, either 2 things will happen. My mother will kick you out, or you will leave the house, because you just can't deal with all of that culture shock. And that's what it is. It's a culture shock, and it's the hardest thing to introduce to somebody in a relationship, because the way our culture is very like blunt and forward. Like, this is our tradition. Family is first, number one. And you know, I don't know, I'm not gonna say that females like feel away when you tell them this, but whenever they're not number one, it always hurts. They can understand, but it'll still feel like they'll still feel some type of way, which is understandable.
In this generation.
In this generation, you know. But it's like, at the same time, if you're not my wife, or if that's not the goal, like to be my wife or something, my family has to be first, because that's the only way you're going to be included into my family. Unless we have a child or something, that's different. You know, obviously, you know, we're family now. So, and
that's another thing. Even if we were to have kids now, like I tell people all the time, like if I was to get a woman pregnant, like, God forbid it just happened, that has to become my wife. My friends still don't believe me.
Right. And the thing is, it's just because of the values that we have. We can't sit there and make a woman bear our child and leave them by themselves to do it, because our families will literally shun us. They will shun us, take the child, and claim them as their new child.
It's true.
And then raise them to make sure they don't do the same thing.
It's true.
You know, and the thing is, it's sad, and it might be funny to some people or whatever, but it's just a fact. Like, we can't. My mother's always telling me, Richard, no kids out of wedlock. And I think I don't even want that for myself right now.
I don't.
But it's just, they're always instilling stuff that we know already. They're still going to keep repeating in our heads. Not because they don't think that we don't know better or something, but because they're always our parents, and they never want us to go through it, because they see it every day in the news. They see it every day with all these other people that that are friends and stuff. It's like, oh, everybody's getting pregnant. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's losing their job. Like, and one thing I'll say that I wish, like, my parents, not so much my parents, but like a lot of African parents what I wouldn't want them to do, it's 2 things. One, don't compare me to the other kids.
I hated that. And they were always comparing me to kids that were not better than me.
Exactly.
That was the thing that blew like back. They're like, you know your cousin, he's an engineer. I'm like, but do you know my cousin smashing everything? Do you know my cousin smoked mad weed? And you don't even want to do that because at the end of the day, it's like, that's not, and then their excuse is, well, you're supposed to take the good things that they're doing, not the bad. And I'm like, but why? Like, it's like, yo, you could be amazing. Like, bro, I was like, you remember, like, in IS school, bro, there was only like maybe 7 of us that were black in honors. That out of the entire school,
there was, out of our class at 831, there was 4 of us
that was black. So in your class, it was you, Sam,
me, Sam, Toyabad, and this other Vanessa, I think. 4 of us.
Yeah, so that was your fault. In my class, it was me, Natasha Shields, Kalia, and Wulu Kalu. But I was the only black man. I was the only black man in honors in my entire academy. The only black man. There was only crazy. 2 boys, and I was the only black man. Everybody else was not that. And I was African. And I was the president in school too. Mm-hmm. So it was like, bro, it was like, to me, I sit back and I look at everything now, bro. I could do all that. I still was not good enough.
Question. Now, with that being said, because I've met people that actually get mad when when we say this, do you feel like because we're African and because of our standards that we hold to ourselves when it comes to our education and stuff like that, that we view ourselves better than anybody else?
No.
Okay.
I mean, but that's just because as a person, I don't see myself as better than anybody. I have my ego. Right. My ego is what, sometimes fuels me, and I say it all the time. Like, I think Wale said it best. He's like, man, there comes a time, and I resonated with it. He was like, there's men out there that would win and win big just out of sheer spite of because someone said they couldn't do, or because someone didn't appreciate them, or someone didn't love it. And I think that comes really from culture.
Yep.
I don't think I'm better than anybody because, there's people doing way better than me right now. I'm still, grinding. I'm still in a space
right. No matter where you're at right now, there's always somebody that you see that's doing better than you.
Especially with social media. Mm-hmm. Everybody's showing their successes, their accomplishments.
It's like I said, perception.
Of everything.
So, because I've met people that, like, I'll say that, I know all my African friends, since we've been young, we've always been grinding, doing our thing, whatever. And it's not because I'm saying it to boast us up or something. It's just because that's the morals and the standards that we've had to live by. If you're not getting 100, you're failing. That's exactly how it is.
Bro, I remember there was a time, and I'm in control. I remember there was a time I got like a 98, and my dad said, what happened to the other 2 points? Yo, nobody even getting close to me. Bro, I remember there was times that everybody in the class failing, and then he's still like, why are you? And I had higher than everybody else.
And it doesn't matter
because... It don't matter. I'm like, we got a curve, so that 78 is going to become a 98. What does that mean? Did you get 98 first?
Oh, my
Why?
God.
And I'm saying, like, bro, at what point am I going to be good enough? And I said it in one of my other podcasts that I'm going to put them out. I have like 50. I'm going to put them out one day. Sooner than soon, though. I really want to put them out soon. I was like, yo, I think one of my biggest issues in life, and I still got to deal with this, I never feel like I'm good enough.
No.
And it's like, it's to the point that now I don't even enjoy
what you have. Or what you get, because it's like what you get is only a taste of what you really want. And I feel like us, just Africans in general, we always had that instilled inside us. No matter what you do, it could be better until you're perfect. And I feel like it's a blessing to have that, but it's a curse, because then it's like when we don't reach our goals, it hits us hard, and it hits us at home, especially, Like I said, there's points where I couldn't tell my dad the grades that I got from school, because it would be like, or college, my first semester, I told him, it was like, this is not good. Why are we sending you to school? Why are we giving you the money to do this if you're just going to come and do this? It was like, after that, I couldn't tell him my grades anymore, because it's just that now I have to make sure that I'm doing well for me. Not because my parents want me to do well. They're giving me the opportunity to do so. I have to do this for me. I can't just do it because my parents are telling me to do so at this point, because now money's coming out of my pocket, or their pockets and my pockets, for education. So if I really don't want to do this, I can't. And I know one of my friends, she went through, her parents put her through school and everything, just to be a nurse. And at the end of the day, she didn't want to do that.
Bro, if you want to talk, man, listen. I look at it now, like, I graduated, international trade, geography, and a communication major. I was a physical therapy major first, then an exercise science, then an occupational therapy major, then an exercise science major, and then after that I failed out of college. And I'm saying here like, yo, I've never been great at sciences. I've always been good at the humanities and English and math. But I've never been great at the sciences, and I wouldn't say, and I don't want to blame my parents, but at the same time, I'll be real. I was trying to live up to their expectations. I felt like if I did not become a doctor, I would be a failure, and I've failed miserably trying to do. It took me failing out of college to realize like, yo, I'm not happy.
This is not what you want to do,
and this is not what I'm going. It's not what I want to do, and this is not what I'm going to be good at. Like, bro, before I got to college, I had like close to like. I had like 500 hours working in an outpatient home at Clover Lakes Rehabilitation. I had 2 internships with physical therapy. I had a potential a job to work as a PT aide. Like, I was doing the physical therapy life stuff. I was doing it before I was doing the school stuff. But it's when I got to college and I had to do the chemistries. I had to do the physics. I'm like, bro, this joint don't make no... Like, for me, I can't have no conversation with nobody about that. I can't change your life being like, bro, this is what I learned today in class. No, it didn't serve any purpose to me. Mm-hmm. And it came to the point that it became taxing trying to do it.
And it's like you had to, instead of it being something that's natural, it's something that you really had to like force yourself to get into doing or get yourself interested in doing.
And I couldn't see myself doing it forever. Mm-hmm. Like, if I was going to do it, I was really going to be doing it for a paycheck. I was really going to do it for a paycheck, or I would really have tried to find a way to be a sports doctor or something and do it within the realm of something that I kind of would enjoy. Mm-hmm. And it came to a point that I'm like, no, I'm not good at that. And then you know what it really was? It took me hosting in New York City from Buffalo, coming down to New York City, and my parents coming and sitting there and actually seeing like, yo, this kid is really good at this. For them to actually be like, oh, well, I guess there's some kind of potential. And even to this point, they still, sometimes they be like, nah.
And it's crazy because I know people that have maybe didn't either failed out or they left, and it was the best decision that was for them. Like my cousin, he left school, and till this day, everybody on my mom's side of the dad's side of the family, like, when are you going back to school? He's probably the most successful out of all of us, just doing what he wants to do. He works for Nike. He's an Ekin. So Ekins are Nike representatives that go to different outlets and stuff throughout the city or whichever region that they're in, and do certain events, like help with as far as like training staff and everything and stuff like that. My man has been to Oregon, been to the headquarters, presented in front of people, business suits, everything, stuff like that. And he's over here wearing his Nike gear, chilling, joggers, sweats, sneakers, Jordans, like overcoats with his fitted on, pitching these people because they like the image that he's putting out there, that he can reach to all the consumers. And he doesn't have a degree in business administration or anything. He's just doing it. And he's being successful. Paid trips to travel with other Ekins. And it's like he's doing all of this without a degree. I'm grateful for the education that I have, mm-hmm. But if there's one thing that I've learned is that you can get your education and do everything that you have to do without proof of paper, mm-hmm. saying that you spent money to get this piece of paper in order for you to do X, Y, and Z. Because there's people that are out there that are doing it. It might be that 1%, but there's people that have come up from situations that we've been in that haven't gone to school.
And if you want to be really frank, a lot of the people I know that do have degrees don't use it. Or if they do use it, they don't use it the way that you traditionally would think. Like, everybody I know now is a teacher. None of them people wanted to be teachers. Mm-hmm. They wanted to be this, that, third. Everybody's a teacher. Everybody I know is a teacher.
A teacher, a nurse, and not to discredit them, because some of them actually want to do it because they want to do it, but then some of them are just doing it because it's the opportunity that they have available to them. Not because they don't want to be teachers, but it's something that they can do, something that they obviously have the talent for, otherwise they wouldn't be able to successfully be in it.
They get good money and they get good benefits.
Yeah, they get good money and they get good benefits. And the thing is, sometimes you might have to, and that's another thing I've learned, sometimes you might have to do stuff that you're not too fond of doing, but that you're good at, in order for you to get somewhere, so that way you can actually do the stuff you want to do. Mm. It might not be, your life's dream to get the degree that you want and then the job that you want or whatever. But sometimes you might have to get that job that you don't want to do.
It's true.
In order for you to get the money to do the stuff you do want to do. Like there's times where I'm pretty sure you've had to sacrifice, do stuff that you don't want to do. I mean, it's fortunate because
doing that shit now.
Exactly. But it's fortunate that you've gotten the opportunity to do stuff like hosting and everything because you're just Cletus. You like to be out there, host, represent, do whatever you got to do, and then get money for it. That's a plus. But it doesn't always work like that. And I know that right now, like, you're in a situation that it's like you're just working, you're still giving back and you're still doing the best you can, but it's like you're not where you want to be. But whatever you're getting right now is helping fuel where you want to be or the stuff that you want to do in your free time, you know? So it's tough and people don't want to swallow that pill, but it's the biggest pill that you have to swallow, especially coming out of school.
That's
because
true.
If you don't, you're going to sit at home doing nothing and get depressed.
It's true.
And it happens to a lot of us a lot more often than, we think. And like I said, it's perception. People think we're doing great because of social media and all this other stuff. But then when you look at it, we're all struggling. People think, because you're a nurse, you have mad money. You're doing this and that. I'm like, first of all, when I get that paycheck, half of that goes to America because of the taxes.
True.
Then the other stuff goes towards the student loans that I have to pay. If I have any other loans that I have to pay, if I have any other expenses like insurance or something that I have to pay, So by the time I actually see whatever I have left, then I have to save that money towards something greater, whether it's me buying a house or doing something, something investing in myself.
And then you got to think about your parents require you to still help out. Like, it don't matter what your African, your parents will forever, if you are doing decent in life, and they might not even ask you, but they expect you to do something financially to help out, and they're right for that. But it's like, bro, I don't got it like that. No. I'm trying to build. It's kind of like now. Really, it's not gonna upset me, but it's like they've had their chance to be young and do what they wanted to do.
And sacrifice the time that they've had to do in order to give you the opportunity to do what you want to do.
So why can I not do what I want to do? But it's like, at the end of the day, it's irresponsible for me to chase my dreams right now. I say that all the time. It's irresponsible for me to chase my dreams right now when I know that these are the circumstances I have placed in front of my family, my situation, etc., etc. So, you know what? At the end of the day, like I said, I just charge it to the game. That's all you can do. I just charge it to the game.
It's true. Now, picture all of that we just mentioned, right? With our lives, school, how we grew up, and everything. Tie all of that into us. We know that. Try explaining that to somebody else that's not in our culture, or being in a relationship with somebody that isn't exposed to that. It's hard because sometimes they'll expect, let's spend time together. Let's do this today, whatever. Your mom hits you up to do something. Then it's like, shoot. Now it's like that person's depressed or that person's upset because it's like now they you're constantly always doing something when you're supposed to be spending time or something, or like it's always caught up. But then it's like you're used to it. You're used to being that person that's always taking charge or being responsible because you have so many obligations. It doesn't have to be that you have so many siblings or whatever, but it's just that because you have your parents and you know what they've done for you. So it's like whenever they ask you something, you don't argue, you just do it. Not saying that you're being a baby or something, or you're not being an adult. It's just that you're being a respectful person
to your family.
Exactly, to your family, because at the end of the day, it's the family values that are always instilled in us that's first. And if it's not for the family, they wouldn't even love you the way they love you. Exactly. So like it's hard. But for her, every now and then I explain it to her and she's like, okay, and it's not going to come easy. Like we've already been together for about like a year and change. And so, it's still a learning process. And the biggest thing, and Cletus, you know me. I do know you. The biggest thing that I thank God for every single day that I probably gained from my father, and I gained because of the stuff that my mother has done for me or done to me, is patience. Yeah. If you know Richard, you know patience. That's true. Because there's so much stuff that I can say I've been through with college, middle school, high school, whatever, like da-da-da. If I didn't have the patience to just do whatever I had to do and not let it get to me or stuff like that, I would be a very different person. It's true. And I really thank God for that because, sometimes there was times when I was younger, I would have patience, but I'll be a pushover. Now that I'm older, I know when I have to put my foot down, my size 15 foot, I'll put it down in a heartbeat.
You always have the big feet,
like,
bro.
And I tell, like, yo, like, it's just crazy because you really learn, like, the time to be patient, the time to actually, like, say something. And between me being a nurse and having to deal with patients that are always putting negativity and everything out there, especially to us when we're just trying to help them, it's like you really have to be patient. For me, being home, coming from school, me sacrificing my freedom to do whatever I can for my parents and everything, and my mom still yelling at me because I didn't do the dishes or take out the trash or whatever, it's patience. Me having to explain my whole lifestyle and explain like how I live to my girlfriend, and having her have to go through that, and like me like always having to go back to telling her, like, you know, this is just the lifestyle that I'm used to, that I've grown up to. My family's first. Everything I do isn't because, not always for me, but it's just for the values and the traditions that I've upheld. It's patience, you know? And that's what a lot of people lack today, and that's why things are always temporary and not permanent. Because of patience. People lack it. And I guarantee you, and that's another thing, social media and everything makes it harder for people to have patience, because every want now. I want this now. If I can't get this, somebody else will give it to me.
It's true.
Back then, when we didn't have any of this stuff in the 90s, when our parents didn't have any of this stuff, they just had each other to depend on. They had patience. That's why they're still together to this day. People that have been together for 75 years, 80 years, 90 years. I see them all the time. I'm like, how do you guys manage to stay together? Patience. If there's anything that I want to leave anybody that's listening to this right now, is that make sure you have patience. If you don't have it, build it. If you have it, continue to build it and let it grow in your life, because patience equals peace. It's the key to life, and without it, your life will always be locked. It's the key to unlocking life, because patience allows you to grow and adapt in every situation that you're in, and therefore it might be an uncomfortable situation, but because you have the patience to go through it, you will grow. Simple.
Man, bro, I don't have nothing else to add, bro. If people want to buy some stuff from Gold Coast Collection,
at the Gold Coast Collection _ on Instagram, or just hit me up if you know me, or just go through Cletus. You know, this is the African.
Where could they go follow you at?
Listen, they can follow me at Pani, PAA _ NII _ on Instagram too. You know, or if you look up Richard Ashun, quote Pani unquote on Facebook or whatever. I'm not even that into social media, but if you need me, you can go through Cletus and you will find me somewhere on his page, because, you know, we're here. That's it. All right. Simple.
And y'all know the face, y'all know that y'all was tuning into Talk Ain't Cheap. And usually 9 and 10 times it's usually not that deep. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to my bro Richard for
put it on a freaking shirt.
I told you, hashtag put it on a shirt. Let him
make you slippery. Butter.
Be like butter, baby.
Be like butter.
Episode definitely coming. Next episode definitely coming soon. Like I said, this is probably like episode 51. It's on.
Bro, how come I haven't had the 40? I haven't heard the 49.
It's on the computer, bro. Like I said, yo, you've taught me a lot, and I'm so happy that I ran into you, and I'm so blessed to be able to see you today and be able to have a friend like you after all just 13 years, bro. Bro, if I don't say thank you, I am super gracious for you.
Man, do you know how many times I mention your name out of my mouth to other people? I'm scared because every time I feel like I mention it, somebody knows you. That's just the influence that you've left, man. And I'm telling you, people know you, continue to do you, because right now, people see you're here. But right now, you're here. And the sky is the limit. Right now, you're about to hit the ceiling. And then
same for you too, bro. If I don't give you credit, bro, I'm so proud of you. We need more black men like you, black nurses doing great work. And I know, bro, same for you, bro. You've always been consistent. You've always been you. I've known you for 30. You've always been you. And honestly, I'm thankful. But we gonna clock out, man. Like I said, thank y'all for tuning in to Talk Ain't Cheap. And remember, it's usually not that deep. You know the vibes, man.
Butter!